Hello guys! This is the continuation of our JavaScript lesson. There are three places to put JavaScript code. First is in between the body tag of HTML, or in between the head tag of HTML. We can also put our JavaScript code inside the JS file, or also known as external JavaScript. Let's now try inputting JavaScript inside the body tag. Meron akong existing HTML document na may header na JavaScript inside the body tag. I will add paragraph. And the paragraph content is your name. And after that, I will add a button. And then type is button. And then nani yung content niya. And then closing button. Okay, let's try. So meron tayong paragraph and meron tayong button. So, let's start adding JavaScript dito sa HTML document natin. First is the script tag. So, JavaScript inside the body tag, obviously is ilalagay natin yung script tag natin sa loob ng body tag. Let's continue. Ngayon, I will call function and the function name is my function. So, it depends sa inyo kung ano yung gusto nyo gawing function name. So, curly braces, then closing curly braces. Next is, inside the curly braces, type document.getElement by. So, I will choose ID, by ID. And then, braces. So, sa loob ng braces, dapat meron tayong quotation. Dot inner HTML. Then quotation and semicolon. So, ano po ba yung mga kulang natin? Una is, kulang tayo ng ID attribute. So, we will just add ID is equal to demo. Okay, ngayon, pwede na natin siyang lagyan ng demo. So, ito yung pangalan ng ID natin. After that is, ano yung changes na mangyayari? So, it will get the element na nasa loob ng demo which is your name. And then, papalitan ito ng, so, gawin natin siyang Kimi no Nawa. Okay, control save, then let's try. So, nothing will change because hindi pa naman natin tinatawag itong script natin. So, paano yun? Kaya tayo nag-declare ng button kasi dito natin ilalagay yung function. So, onClick is equal to our function name, which is my function. So, quotation, then inside is my function. So, let's save. Then, let's try. Then, when you click this button, the text will change. So, refresh natin. So, makikita nyo is your name. But when you click this button, magiging Kimi no Nawa. Let's analyze the program. Una, nag-declare tayo ng header 2, ng paragraph, and ng button. So, our header 2 is JavaScript. Our paragraph is, refresh natin siya, your name. And our button is this, na ang name is Nani. After that is, nag-declare tayo ng JavaScript inside the body tag. So, our JavaScript is in this. So, script tag. Sa loob ng script tag, nag-declare tayo ng function. And our function name is my function. So, it depends sa inyo kung ano yung gusto nyong function name. But in this instance, ang ginamit ko is my function. So, inside my function, sa loob ng curly braces, dito natin nilagay yung mismong script natin, which is document.getElement by ID demo. So, it will get the ID na ang value ay demo, which is ito. Diba? After that is .innerHTML, it will change the element or the value of the element na your name into Kimi no Nawa. So, when we click this button, doon nangyayari yung changes. So, paano nangyari yun? Kasi, sa button natin, nilagay natin yung attribute na onClick. When we click this button, magpa-function or gagana yung function natin na may function, which is, it will change, refresh natin, it will change the your name into Kimi no Nawa. Ngayon, let's try to input our JavaScript inside the head tag. So, paano ba yon? I will just copy this script inside our head tag. Okay, and palitan ko lang siya ng head tag. So guys, this is just a label. Baka malito kayo. And then, let's try. Refresh, then click the button. So, gumana pa rin yung script natin. Basically, kapag nasa loob ng head tag ng JavaScript, ganun lang, ikakopy lang natin or dito lang tayo magagawa ng mismong script sa loob ng head tag. Kapag gusto naman natin nasa body tag, so dito natin ilalagay yung script natin sa loob ng body tag. It is just like in CSS. So, it depends sa inyo kung saan kayo mas komportable. Pero para maging mas malinis, yung mismong HTML nyo, ay suggest na ilagay yung script sa loob ng head tag or use external JavaScript. Let's now try external JavaScript. First thing you need to do is to create a folder inside our HTML directory. So, dun sa pinagawa kong HTML folder, mag-add lang tayo ng new folder. And the folder name will be JavaScript. And after that, so meron na tayong compiler ng mga JavaScript natin. So, balik tayo sa editor. Click File, then New. Then, this file will be our JavaScript file or JS file. So, dito sa file na to, dito natin ilalagay yung JavaScript natin. So, I will just go back sa HTML file natin, then kakopy ko lang yung JavaScript na ginawa ko. Then, balik ako dito kay JavaScript file. So, I will save it as my JavaScript. So, the extension will be .js. So, sa CSS is .css, dito naman kay JavaScript is .js. Then, locate lang natin ulit yung folder natin for our JavaScript. Then, click Save. So, the difference is, tatanggalin lang natin tong si script tag. Okay, ayusin lang natin. Indent ko lang siya. So, meron na tayong JavaScript file. Let's get back sa HTML natin. So, inside the head tag, dito natin pwedeng ilagay si script tag and end tag ni script tag. And maglalagay lang tayo ng attribute kay script. So, the attribute will be source. And just like in CSS, sa source natin naman ilalagay yung source nung JavaScript or yung location nung JavaScript file natin, which is in the JavaScript folder. Okay, I forgot the quotation. And backslash. And dito naman yung JavaScript file name. So, my JavaScript .js. So, let's try. It still works. So, let's analyze the program. First is, nag-create tayo ng JavaScript file. So the difference between inputting JavaScript inside the HTML and the JavaScript or the external JavaScript is hindi na natin kailangan ilagay itong si script tag. So script tag no more. And then balik tayo sa HTML. So sa HTML, ang ilalagay lang natin is yung script tag without the mismong script. Dadagdagan lang natin siya ng attribute na source. So sa attribute na source, dito nakalagay yung location or URL nung JavaScript file mo, which is in JavaScript folder, and the file name is myjavascript.js. So just like sa CSS. And now let's discuss the advantages and disadvantages of external JavaScript. First in advantages is the reusability of the external JavaScript. Reusable siya within the HTML file na gagamitin mo or nang gagawin mo. Kasi nakahiwalay nga siya. So, mayroon tayong independent file for our JavaScript. Next is the readability. So, independent file siya. Wala siyang kasamang CSS and HTML. That's why mas mabilis basahin. Third one is time efficient. So, kapag naglo-load na yung browser, mas mabilis nitong malo-load yung webpage natin. Because ang binabasa niya ay, first is HTML lang, sunod is the CSS, and sunod is external JavaScript. Unlike kung doon natin ilalagay yung CSS and JavaScript natin sa HTML, so ang daming file na kailangan niyang basahin. Fourth one is editable separately. So we have independent or external JavaScript. Means kung gusto natin i-edit yung JavaScript lang is kailangan lang natin allocate or buksan yung mismong JS file natin. So hindi magkaka-conflict kung gustong mag-edit ng iba ng HTML file and kung gusto mo namang i-edit yung external or yung JavaScript natin. Fifth one is shortcodes. So independent file nga siya. Walang kasamang ibang codes, walang kasamang HTML, walang kasamang CSS. So, mas maikse yung coding na ginagamit natin kay external JavaScript. And also, tinatanggal na natin dito yung script tag. Disadvantages of external JavaScript. First is, it is easy to steal. So, the hacker or the stealer can easily steal your JavaScript file by the use of the URL. Next is failure in execution of two dependent JS file. So, kapag meron kayong dalawang JS file na nakadepende sa isa't isa, kapag nagkaroon ng error yung isang JS file nyo, possibly magkaroon po ng failure in execution. So, when editing JS file, make sure na hindi maapektuhan yung another JS file kung nakadepende to sa isang JS file mo. Third one is additional request to get the JS code. So, this is in a web. Nagkakaroon ng additional request sa HTTP to retrieve your JS code. Fourth one is changes in JS code may cause unexpected result. So, like in number 2, kapag meron tayong two dependent JS file, and then binago natin yung isang part sa isang JS file natin, it can result also sa failure or unexpected result. Fifth one is checking of each file that depends on a JS file. To prevent the number 2 and number 4 disadvantages of external JavaScript, kailangan natin lagi i-check yung mga JS files natin. And finally, you need to use internal JS if it's only few line of JS code. So, kapag naman maikli lang yung code or yung JS code mo, so gawin mo na lang siyang internal JS file kaysa external JS file. JavaScript comments. So, in single line comment, gumagamit tayo ng slash, ng double slash. Then, in multi-line comment, gumagamit tayo ng slash, asterisk, and then nag-end to sa asterisk, then slash. So, familiar na kayo siguro sa comment na to, na ginagamit kay Java. Where do we use comments? Just like in another programming, gumagamit tayo ng comments para i-explain yung line of codes na yon. And sometimes, gumagamit naman tayo ng multi-line comments para i-disable muna yung line of codes na hindi natin gagamitin. So, ginagamit natin siya madalas kapag nagta-trial and error tayo ng mga codes. JavaScript Variable. A JavaScript variable is simply a name of storage location. There are two types of variable in JavaScript. First is the local variable, and second one is the global variable. There are some rules while creating a JavaScript variable, or also known as identifiers. Variable name must start with letter A to Z or capital A to Z. And it can also start with underscore or $sign. Take note that JavaScript variables are case sensitive. X and X are different variables. So just like in Java, pareho lang po yung rules na ini-implement kay JavaScript variables and kay Java variable. So I know na nakapag-Java na naman kayo. But ang difference lang nila is yung paggamit ng var. Before we proceed, kung ano ba yung var? Let's discuss first the local variable. A JavaScript local variable is declared inside block or function. It is accessible within the function or block only. It means na kapag local variable yung gamit mo, it is only accessible sa loob lang nung function na yon. Okay. As you can see, meron tayo ditong sample script. And hit pause and try to identify kung nasaan ba yung variable natin. Yes, kung ito yung nakita nyo, yan po yung variable in JavaScript. Nag-uumpisa ito sa var, then yung variable name is equal to the value of your variable. So the difference between Java is sa Java gumagamit tayo ng string, int, byte, decimal, float, or other variable type. But here, var lang yung ginagamit natin. Var can accept different kind of data type, like string, number, or decimal. So in this example, var, then ang variable name is fprotag, means female protagonist is equal to the value, which is Mitsuha Miyamizu, or the female protagonist of your name. So it accepts string. And in our next example is var year is equal to 2013, which is a integer or number. So just like in Java, kapag number, hindi natin kailangan ilagay sa loob ng double quote. This year is yung release date ni your name. And now let's try. I will use JavaScript inside the head tag. Okay, meron na tayong script. Meron na rin tayong function. Ang kulang na lang is the variable. So, var, then the variable name is fprotag will be equal to, nasa loob dapat ng double quotation because string yung ilalagay ko dito, then the name. Mitsuha Miyamizu. Control save, then let's add another variable for the year. Variable year is equal to 2013. Semicolon. So don't forget guys the semicolon. Okay, let's try. So, nagbago pa lang is yung Kimi no Nawa. So, kasi may kulang pa. Hindi pa natin nilalagay si variable name natin na protag and si variable name natin na year dito kay inner HTML or dun sa changes na gusto natin gawin. So, let's add plus sign, then hit enter. Then, tawagin natin yung first variable natin na fprotag. Plus our second variable na year. Then control save, then try natin. So makikita natin na nadagdag na si Mitsuha Miyamizu and the year. So paano natin gagawing readable ito? Lagyan lang natin siya ng BR. So plus sign, BR tag, and then plus sign. So, add rin natin siya sa susunod na part. So, refresh, then let's try to run. Okay, burahin natin to, refresh. So, ayan. Naging mas readable na yung output natin by using BR or the break line tag. So, this is how to add tag sa loob ng script natin. So, nasa loob dapat siya ng quotation or ng double quotation. And that's it. Meron na tayong local variable inside the my function. Now, global variable. A JavaScript global variable is accessible from any function. A variable is declared outside the function or declared with window object is known as a global variable. So kanina, sa loob tayo ng function, naglagay ng variable. But if you want to use global variable, ilalagay lang po natin yung variable natin naman sa labas. Ilalagay naman natin yung variable natin sa labas ng function natin. So let's try. Okay, diba? Ito yung function natin. So, sa taas nito, declare lang tayo ng another variable for mProtag or the male protagonist. Then, the value is Taki Tachibana. And then, semicolon. So, i-add lang natin siya sa loob ng inner HTML natin or dun sa changes sa loob ng inner HTML. So, copy ko lang to. Then, then palitan natin to ng mProtag. Or tatawagin lang natin yung global variable natin na male protagonist. Control save, then let's try. Hit this button, then as you can see, nadagdag na si Taki Tachibana sa list of changes natin. So, this global variable can be used hindi lang sa function na to, kundi sa lahat ng function na kikreate mo. For example is, nag-create ka pa ng another function, so pwede mo siyang tawagin. But if ang tawagin mo is itong variable na to sa another function na yon, so it will not work because it is declared as a local variable, not a global variable. So let's add comment. Local variable, I mean global. And then local variable and first function. JavaScript data types. JavaScript provides different data types to hold different types of value. You need to use bar here to specify the data type. It can hold any type of value such as number, string, and etc. So, ginamit na natin siya kanina, si var, and then variable name is equal to the value of your variable. There are two data types in JavaScript, the primitive data type and the non-primitive data type. Primitive data type are consists of string, number, boolean, undefined, or null. While the non-primitive data type are consists of object, array, and regular expression. This is the example for primitive data types. For string, ang ginamit natin na variable ay fprotag. For number, ang ginamit natin na variable name ay year. For undefined, ang ginamit natin na variable is y. Undefined means wala pa tayong value na nilalagay. For null, ang ginamit natin is x. It means nilagyan natin siya ng value but zero value. Next is array. Ang variable name natin kay array ay cars. It contains sub, Volvo, and BMW. In object, our variable name is person, and inside the person is the first name which is John, the last name is Doe, the age is 50, and the eye color is blue.